understanding of most of the commerce students think, okay, I should be an expert in maths. All teachers are very good mentors, and they actually been so. But unfortunately, I don't know how many of them really know the career opportunities. Whenever I go to every college and explain these things, no, when we see from the career, the industry side, most of them may not ever. They academically that course wise they might be exceptionally good. Fintech is basically the technology side, one finance side, and you should have very strong financial analytical knowledge. Then only technology become much more usable. When I started my consulting practice, I would say maybe some last 25 years, one of the major challenge in any time, the one common challenge was getting the right resource for the job. That is the biggest challenge. Even you do interview for as many graduates, practically most of them are people are actually been not employable. That is a one big pain. Even in Kerala, I would say the representing Kerala, we are the largest consulting firm in Kerala. And most of the entrepreneurs today, they what they face the challenge is getting the right finance manager. After a graduation, commerce graduation, people come as a accountant, but unfortunately, very few accountant will convert into a kind of a finance manager role, because an accountant role predominantly they manage how to record the transaction, typical accounting job, but nobody knows how to report to the management about the business. That element is significantly missing. So, and let's start this topic. Why this particular gap in the market? Even though I would say that roughly a lakh of students graduated only from commerce from Kerala, a lakh, around a lakh every year. But still, there is a huge employment opportunity on the finance manager domain, the senior accounting domain. But unfortunately, the gap is very significant. I just start this conversation little more the challenging perspective. So normally people study from the academic level, but they don't know how to build a career. Career is something different, and molding towards a career, they don't know even academically what all things they should be prepared when they out from the college. So as you see, most of the students, maybe after the plus two or maybe a 10th, they get into the commerce field with fascinated with lots of advertisement. When I was doing CA, hardly nobody even promote even a chartered accountancy course or a cost accounting course or a CS. Nobody even, there is no promotion. But today, if you see, most of the people do lots of advertisement, the campaign with the big celebrities, ACCA, CMA US. In 21 years, you become your life will be so. That's a kind of a image what build very lesser time. You can build your career in a very in a professional way. That's a kind of a message is going in the market. Unfortunately, how many have actually been clear from this academic level is a big question. Let's start from where these students. Normally, if you ask any plus two or maybe a commerce student, first question is, what are you planning to do? When I say, what are you planning to do? He will say that I would like to become a chartered accountant, maybe a company secretary, even from a plus two level or a 10th level, you say, what are you planning to do? People say, I would like to become a doctor. I would like to become an engineer. So that's their wish. What the answer what they give basically their wish, what they want to become. So the next question they will say that how are you planning to do? Maybe you have an option offline, you have an option online, both the possibilities there. How are you planning to do? Now it's a question about your effort. I'm not ready to go to a particular college on an offline model. I'm okay to be complete the whole course in an online format. It's basically your effort is being defined when you say that how are you planning to do. Next question is, where are you planning to do? Is question is basically your affordability, which university, which college. Okay, it all depends upon your affordability. I would maybe very confidently say I'm actually studying in this X university because of I can afford to go to that college. I would afford to go to that particular university. That's where your affordability goes. But unfortunately, nobody answered. I would say that how is basically your effort and where is basically your your affordability, which university, which college I would be doing. So it's all showing your affordability. But you asked to answer what, how, and where. So what I'm trying to say is why is a very important question, because the answer for why has to come from an outside person, not from the student perspective. Ideally, whoever is actually gone through the process, maybe somebody wants to do a chartered accountancy course, somebody wants to do a company secretary course. I always prefer you encourage the student to go and ask that company secretary, ask that chartered accountant how the his process was went, and because you already gone through the process, right? And ideally, you should go and ask what are the things, if I do this course, what will I get? So why you always come with lots of questions, that questions and the answer normally you should get it from outside. You need a kind of a mentor. That is exactly the role maybe a teacher can play, kind of a mentor role in the college at the graduation level, because every day every teacher meet that student. Unfortunately, we our type of consultant people, maybe rarely we do a kind of a um, career mentoring kind of thing, maybe hardly 1 or 2 hour. But a teacher every day meet, ideally you know the reason for why, and ideally you can encourage, you can give a lots of mentorship and the guidance to the students. That is exactly the whole purpose. And every student, whatever they are doing, no, you always keep on asking why I'm doing this career, because it shows their interest, it shows their strength, and it shows that they will ideally say that what's my goal to complete a particular course. Because whether we like or not, every goal somewhere we need to understand whether it's employable, monetary wise, what I will get if I do this particular course. At the end of the day, we can do a lot of other passion and all, but typically a graduate, a commerce graduate, the kind of salary what they get in the market is very, very poor. That's the reason 80-70% of the commerce graduates, once they complete the college, they go to the Swiggy, Zomato, the sales job. And that's the where normally people go. With my experience, very few people come into the commerce field. Even you go to college, you ask maybe 100 students how many would like to do a professional course like CA, CMA, ACCA. Very few actually shows their hands actually to I would like to, because they have no idea why should I do, what will I get, and how will my career will be look like once I go through these courses. So after this graduation courses, if you ask any students, they will have lots of dilemma. What type of a job I will get with my degree? Whether that job what I'm getting, is it something sustainable in future with that kind of a money salary? 15,000, 20,000 rupees salary, what you get now, it may not be enough once with the inflation, once the growth is being done after a 5 year, 10 year down the line, that money may not be enough to manage their career. So what options I have? Unfortunately, with my experience dealing with commerce graduates, they may not even know what options is left after the commerce graduations. How will I actually be pursue the further courses? Even they have lots of even myth relating to the further courses relating to the CA, CMA, ACCA. They most of the things, okay, it's something financially not viable for me to handle. It's unfortunately that's a myth. Fortunately, it's a very reasonable cost because it's all central government courses. All the central government courses, CA, ACCA, CA, CMA, CS, it's all central government sponsored courses. So again, lots of dilemma will come. I should be academically extraordinary to pursue these courses. Absolutely no. I'm the perfect example to show a very normal, ordinary person also can pursue CA, can complete and successfully be pursue the career. Okay. I was 10 plus 2 in commerce. I was a very average student, just crossed 60% marks. Still, I pursued chartered accountancy course. So you don't need to be academically brilliant to do this. All you need a passion, you need a focus, you need a very strong attitude to do these courses. And again, with a very strong vision and the goal. Again, how long will I take to complete these courses? Okay. Again, the question is once I complete the commerce graduations, most of the students, what they do, they will immediately go into a job with the 10,000, 12,000, 15,000. Nobody even think I need some experience. 36 months you study in a college of thing, but once you completed, once you have degree certificate, they under impression if I go for an employment, I will get the job. It's not that the case. Nobody has any experience, employability experience when it comes to the job. This is the big gap. Again, the aim, nobody is actually building in the BCom. BCom has a unique course. The reason you ask 50 students in a BCom, what is your aim? What is your focus? Nobody has any common focus. There is no common aim. The reason they have no idea once I complete BCom what I supposed to do after the BCom. So this is something being you need to build a focus. What exactly they have to. This is something you have to make start somewhere in the first year and second year itself. Start feeding these things. It's not something to discuss this topic in the third year. Third year they have no idea because the first year and the second year is the those 2 years the completely. Even though a student is exceptionally been good in the academic level in the plus two and in the 10th level, once they get into this particular college environment, automatically that first year second year they lose the control. They actually they never get that kind of a passion of being a kind of being a studious person will become a kind of a normally become a very average student. Okay, I will also give you a lot of example and scenarios why students like this. So let's take the options. Normally, commerce graduates, either they can go directly in employment and accounting, where a cashier type of a job, any other, not necessarily to be a accountability related job. They can go for any other job. Okay. So second option is basically, I would say that professional courses. There are lots of professional courses available, and further in between there is a gap, right? I don't want to go for a job. I can't even go look for a kind of a professional course where how will I can actually improve my career in between. So those space also you can actually fill with lots of internship, skill development programs. So many things are right now available online, offline. So many options are available. You can still pursue those career options. So professional courses, I don't want to go in detail about the professional courses. If you see the first three courses is predominantly the central government course, chartered accountant course, company secretary course, cost management accountant. Each one has its own role, its own career path, its own salary grade, its own parameter. Each one is a different courses. Each objective is different. A chartered accountant role cannot be performed by a company secretary. A company secretary role cannot be performed by a cost accountant. Cost CMA is something related to the manufacturing sector, pricing, costing, all those areas. Company secretary predominantly manage the compliances for the corporate companies in India. And chartered accountancy course is basically the audit kind of there are lots of, I would tell you, though it's a self-employment course and it's unbelievable career opportunities. Somebody, even a company secretary, hardly very few students actually go through the company secretary courses. So unbelievable company career opportunities being a company secretary. So being a central government courses, unfortunately, in Kerala, in South India, these are the other international courses are very popular. ACCA, CMA US, CPA US. Very few students understand why they choose these courses compared with this tough, because for them that is difficult one. It is easier one. Easily I can easily crack these courses. Easily job is gettable maybe in abroad and different and high salary. These are the kind of magic situations, dilemma students get into. They are we fall into these courses, but the practical reality is something different. If someone would like to know more detail, what I just share you a kind of a in Capitaire. If anyone actually would like to prefer to scan this code, you will get to know each course wise, each detailed. You can download maybe later. You can just this is a capitaire.com students. There is a category. This is something we developed in-house. Each course wise, what are the course structure, what are the syllabus, what are the course. Someone wants to get in more detail, I can even later I can send you this link also. You can download later. That is since already been readily available. I don't want to go in detail about each courses. In if any case any student teacher has any doubts relating to these courses, you can also contact. I can clarify if you have any doubt relating to these courses. So the question is, first of all, you need to understand whether nobody inform to these students whether this is something suit for you. That is the most important thing. That is the reason I should ask question to myself, why should I do this course? Maybe somebody is advertising, I should not go into the course. My friend is good doing ACCA, I should not do the. First of all, will it suit for me? Something you have to do the readiness assessment. Well, will it suit for you? So that's the reason I strongly recommend you all teachers can start these discussions in the second year onwards in the college level. So you feed these informations to in their mind, let them go through the process of this thing. They let them imagine why I should do HCA, why should I do CMA. So then they will have a little more clarity in the third year whether these courses suit for me. Most of the students, why they pursue these courses next 3 years, 4 years, I don't want to give any explanation to anyone, to a marriage, to employability. I'm saying I'm pursuing HCA, I'm pursuing CA, CMA, so that next 3 years nobody will. Even most of the students, why they do MBA, sorry, MCOM. So next 2 more years, nobody will question. So that you are spending around 5 years in the college system without even a clarity. Why should I pursue these courses? Again, you can highlight. This is also one important aspects to get a lot of informations among the students. These are the prominent consulting firms in the country, in the world: KPMG, Deloitte, EY, PwC. These are called as a big four. Then next layer firm is Grant Thornton, BDO, and RSM. So these are the big seven firms. Almost 14 years I worked in these firms except PwC. So I know what exactly the how big four function, how a big seven firm function. But unfortunately, most of the students, most of the faculties, this one significant element of informations, there are two types of big four in India. I repeat, there are two types of big four in India. A big four, they serve Indian clients. Okay, that's a one type of a big four. Another big four, again in India, they've been have a back office support services to the big four in other country. For example, KPMG as EY as a back office in Kochi, who are their clients, basically the EY Kuwait, EY Dubai, EY Qatar, they are their clients. And KPMG also similarly has a back office in India. Deloitte has a back office in Pakistan. So PwC also has a back office. So the question is, somebody is actually pursuing ACCA, CMA, all these courses, they are going into a big four back office jobs. Practically, you will have a very limited career opportunity once you join in a back office job. So as being a teacher, you need to highlight what all these big fours, and you can highlight, okay, there are two types of big four. Here in the main big four, where you go, you have an enormous career opportunity, unbelievable career opportunity. Even there are partners, they earn salary more than 2-3 crore per annum easily. Okay, and the salary also been great. So these are the opportunity you actually give a drive to the towards the students. Unfortunately, very little informations about these firms among the general public and among the students level. This is a one key information, so you can share it with your children. Again, I always say that this is also a dilemma when somebody is a professional courses, when they say that should I attend classes for all the courses? Absolutely no. Only very limited chapter, limited subjects only you need that academically and external support. Otherwise, all these courses, they provide the study material. And there are, when I was studying CA, hardly very limited options in India. Now every study material is in the online, and lots of free course materials are available, suggested papers are available, lots of, because of the kind of information right now. um, Lack of information is not an excuse. You have enough information on the table. Only thing it is, you need to select which is the right information. So um, again, passing criteria, again, each courses, all these things have actually been very detailed. We mentioned in our in the document. Again, the time management. I would say that all these professional courses, what is most important thing is your focus. And even what I see, a student with a focused attention, anything you train, it is trainable. And but practically, why we are not in a position to train most of the students, most of the employees, they don't get that kind of a focus in the current scenario. That is also one big gap. Whenever I go to a college, I do such sessions. It's very difficult to get the attention span of these students because there are um, lots of um, attention gap. Okay, this is a one important concept of I always explain to the students in a simple way. I'm a business consultant. That is the reason I just positioned this as a very important. Which company, which business has more profitable when you have more function, when you have invested in more assets, when you take more risk, ideally what happens, you will have more profit. That is the equation of the business. In any, you consider any business, that's a simple equation of. Similarly, you need to consider any professional courses, even BCom, MCom, MBA, CA, ACCA, you always highlight to a student in such a way, your syllabus, your career also been aligned to the same three parameter. One is function. Function is your syllabus, kind of what kind of a syllabus you are actually been studying, what deep your subject papers are. That's again connected. Again, asset is your time, your investment. Somebody is maybe say that I don't want to invest 5 years, 4 years in a child accountancy course. Better I would prefer to do a CMA US, which is require only 1 year time period. And that is again the parameter. Then the risk passing criteria. Okay, so why normally people never pursue a professional courses? They have the kind of a dilemma by saying, okay, I may fail. Okay, that risk exposure is there. So many people are not passing. Only very limited people are passing. So the employability is very risky, very less. So it's all come as a parameter comes to the risk. So you see, normally a graduate once complete the graduate next level when they move, they always look forward which is the lesser course, which is less syllabus, which is require a less time period, which has a more passing criteria. So when you consider these parameter, obviously the return, in the business, you have a profit. Similarly, here what happened, you have remuneration is also very less. Very less. I just give an example. I assume ACCA has 13 papers. After completing BCon, most of the people say that, okay, 9 papers, you have an exemption. You don't need to write. Only you need to write four papers. Once you complete within 1 year, 2 year, you can complete the ACCA. You will become an ACCA member. So imagine a situations, a chartered accountant is sitting, an ACCA guy who wrote 13 papers and another ACCA who wrote 4 papers with 9 exemptions. When it come for an employment offer, kind of a job offer, obviously who will get more salary? Maybe of course the child are going to get more salary. Out of ACCA with exemption, without exemption, the guy who wrote 13 papers will get more salary. So whenever you consider the kind of a remunerations, it's again you will get a lesser remunerations when you consider this. See, normally human being tendency is basically, I don't want to take risk. I don't want to be exposed. For that, I take very convenient, comfortable decisions so that I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose my face. That's the one criteria. These are the area they have the thought process, right? And being a teacher, you need to highlight whenever you really want to pursue a bigger career. Of course, you should take bigger risk, right? Bigger risk means you invest. So what time you invest at the age of between the 21 to 24 or 25, that's the investment is take care of your career in the next 25, 30 years of your lifespan. So whatever you do that 21, 24, you know, not investing on yourself on the in the career perspective, you will have a lesser career opportunities in the future. And so what's making the difference? I always say that a graduate, a normal graduate alone won't become kind of a successful. I always said you should have a 3C to become a successful. First C is basically the competency, communication, consistency. It's all connected. Wherever you go for a job, wherever you go into any in academic level, you should have a competent knowledge. Okay, competent knowledge, whichever the subject I highlight, of a tax or a GST or accounting or maybe anything. Okay, you should have a competent knowledge on the subject. Second, C is most important. You should have very good, sharp communications. The communication, the way the other person understand. In Kerala, I would say that experience with Kerala, hardly people are not so confident to communicate even in the Malayalam language. Forget about English. Not even confident to come because they are perfectly fine at the college level, school level, maybe friends level, at the home level. But unfortunately, when you come to the professional friend, you ask any subject, the way they communicate is basically very hard to understand what they are trying to communicate. That's also a big gap with the commerce graduates. Second thing is you should have a competency, we should have a communication. You have to practice consistently. Then only that become develop into a skill. So skill is something will develop only with these three combinations. That's the reason I always, once you graduated, you have to practice in these competency and the communication side consistently, you develop a skill. That alone won't get you the successful parameter. Unfortunately, most of the people may not know what exactly the scaling up. The next stage, how people will get into success is something people management skill. This is a very, very important skill, how you manage people top to down. And that's where you will become a CEO or maybe a managing director, a CFO, whatever level you move to the next stage, people management skill. You might be very exceptionally subject matter expert. You might be exceptionally very good communication skill. You have a very huge skill, but you lack people management skill. I think there is a next ladder. It's very difficult to move. That one area I always strongly say that chartered accountant students carry a significant amount of people management skill. I just give you one rough example how people management skill somebody get from a chartered accountancy course. Any any student actually been enrolling into a chartered accountancy course, there is a mandatory, there is an articleship in a CA firm. It's a mandatory. Earlier it was 3 years, now it is 2 years. So this chartered accountancy course, anyone join in as a graduate, he started reporting to a senior in the chartered accountant firm. He started reporting the senior at the age of 20 or at 21. At the early age, he started reporting to his senior. And after 2 years, he become a senior. He will have the junior and he started guiding to a senior. Imagine as a student at the age of 20 to 23 itself, he started guiding to his junior. So reporting to a senior and guiding to a junior, both are two different communication. In the third year onwards, he started interacting with the client. I tell you, the same person, the same day, he is reporting to a senior and guiding to a junior and also consulting or maybe clarifying to his client. Three different communication. He may give excuse to senior and a junior, but he never give excuse to a client because he become more accountable, more responsible to the client. Even once, maybe after a point, maybe he started interacting with the government authorities, income tax, GST, PF, company law, PF, RBI, all these authorities. So this is exactly where a chartered accountant is actually building its career at the age of 24 or 25 with the very significant amount of a people management skill. Same person, same day, four people, four different level of communication. These types of communications never happen in any person's career. And that is the reason you see most of the chartered accountants are at the CFO and the CEO level of things. And very few people you see that ACCA, CMA, all those people very never become a CEO level because that exactly the people management skill. I just want to highlight how people management skill is so relevant in a person's career. Forget about chartered accountancy course. I strongly recommend even after a commerce graduate, you eventually join in a chartered accountancy firm for 3, 4 years. You will build this skill automatically from the CFO. Now, employment we discussed. Okay, most of the people say that unemployment in the country. It is not actually unemployment. Okay, I will say that underemployment. Okay, unemployment and underemployment are two different concepts. Unemployment is basically the person is not getting the employment. Underemployment is basically he enrolled as an employee in a company, but unfortunately he is not performing as per the job description. But unfortunately, the reason he is not carrying any employment skill once he joined. Everybody impressed an interview and join in the company. After 2 weeks, then 3 weeks, he realized he can't even operate an Excel file. So this is a major concern at the commerce graduates since they lack this particular area. So what they normally study in the college level, theoretically, they know how to pass a journal entry, ledger, trial balance, accounting standard, tax provisions, theoretically, all this contractual law. That's a typical syllabus in the 3 years we study. But what they never study in the college at the commerce level, how normally a business functions, how a transaction flows, how a GST practically works, how income tax practically works, how other regulatory matters affects, how career growth. The reason I say practically, with my 25 years experience, I'm just telling you all, 80% things what we study in the college, even in the chart accountancy domain, we never use in my I never used in my 25 years of experience in career, whatever I study, because all academically, theoretically, I studied because I would like to clear my examination. I cleared. But that 80% we never apply. The 20% is only we apply a significant amount in our career. The next 20, 30, 40 years of my career, what I apply, the 20% things what I actually studied, that 20% is basically the lack in the market, because unfortunately the academic level teachers may not know what exactly those 20% which is practically apply in the industry. This is a one gap I just normally notice. So, as I said, no, students have degree, but unfortunately, employers not looking for a degree. They are looking for a very significant part is, with my experience, attitude. And attitude is the more weightage at the time of a first employment level. They checking attitude, whether this guy is trainable. Okay, skill, I maybe lack skill, but I'm looking whether he is skill, whether I can be trainable. These are the first two element is very important. Of course, the rest of the things get you more value add is a communication part, a professional thing, the problem solving skill, and those are the maybe added advantage. But mostly 90% of employers give weightage towards the attitude, whether he has the so-called implied skill, which is something being scalable, which is something being trainable. And what is this? This is a gap. Well, okay, just give you my background. When I started my firm after 14 years of career in Big Four, I started 2018. I started my Capitaire consulting firm, and 2020 we started another vertical, which is Pravasi Tax. We grown very fast. Today we are the largest consulting firm in Kerala in terms of size, in terms of business. But one important challenge I had in the market, I'm not getting the resource, right resource. You get n number of people will come for employee interview, but getting the right resource was the biggest challenge. So that point, I did lots of these kind of a career guidance program in different colleges across all Kannur University. Around 14 colleges I traveled during 2022 time. I still remember around so the point is, since I'm not getting the resource, I complained as a concern across academy level, faculty level, but still I'm not getting the result. That exactly the reason there is no point in challenging why I'm not getting a resource. So for whatever resource we need, we thought let's develop ourselves. So that exactly the reason we started Special 40 in 2023 we started 2023 we started. We took almost, as I said, no, 20% syllabus is what is required for your career. We started 2023, we started Special 40. So far, we trained around 785 students, not everyone. There is a selection process. We check attitude, we check whether this course is something we required for that particular student, because we have a large presence of corporate clients in Kerala. We can't just simply supply a resource in the market. Even we also need a resource. So we put a filtering mechanism, we put an interview, check their attitude, whether is something being trainable. So all those parameters we have developed a course which is Special 40. Special 40, why Special 40? Only at a time we train only 40 students. So it's a very long journey. I can share later also, I can share, but we cover the whole academic level, how a one individual can become a finance manager in future. So we start from a business, and then we understanding, make them understand how the accounting, why is very important, why accounting concepts is coming, why GST. Then we prepare the financial statements and the thing. Then we put the through the draw put the transactions in the tally, then Excel in advanced version. and practical training on how to file the GST return, income tax, TDS, the whole thing. And normally, how a finance manager typically can handle all those things. That's all things we train. And there are a lot of soft skill because even we train nowadays, we train even a business English also. And we conduct how to address a mock interview, and how to manage in a office etiquettes, and how to draft a proper email without much of challenging. So these are the completely a soft skill also we just train the students. So what I'm just trying to give, I don't want to highlight that side, but I just want to highlight this is something, a kind of a course, is something available in Kochi. I understand most of the teachers are different parts of India. I strongly recommend you have to pursue all your students to go through these type of a similar and online, offline type of an internship program, so that they understand what exactly the industry expect, what industry actually demands. I just a few example how we train. Just for example, okay, very interestingly, we how we normally train, right? So assume typically say for example capital. Capital is a kind of a term during school level and college days we just learn. But how can we make them more interesting? How so typically somebody is actually invest in a company. We say that, okay, this is a journal entry, bank account debit to capital account. This is basically the typical journal entry we pass in the college level. But imagine, assume, make it more interesting. Why is capital is someone invest? The question pattern change when you put the why. When you put the why is very interesting questions come. Why someone start a business? Why a business owner invest his money in the business? Why he should run this business activity? Then you can put the kind of a little more interesting. Where and all his capital has been gone. I maybe put a crore in the business. Imagine all these cost is actually being taken off of my capital. Human resource, project administration, procurement, R&D, production, quality control, governance, finance and account, sales, mark, everything is cost, right? So again, we can make it more interesting. All those green highlighted are your revenue expenditure. Most of them are expend, though it is a capital I have spent, but you have to make them understand we spend all this in the revenue expenditure. Why is the revenue expenditure, which is significantly relatable to the your revenue. Okay, expenditure what I spend to earn revenue, we call as an operating expenditure, we call as a revenue expenditure. So that once you spend this year, there is no future benefit. Whatever I spend, ideally I should get the benefit in this year itself. That is the reason we charge all this cost to the profit and loss account as a cost. But again, there are other types of expenditure also we spend, which is the capital expenditure, infrastructure, materials, vehicle purchase, equipment. Is that why we are actually investing? These are the expenditure we are spending to get the future value. Today I'm spending, I may generate in the future value. So the question is inventory. I bought today the inventory, but not necessarily I can sell the whole inventory in this year. I may hand it over this inventory to the next year as a closing inventory to the next year operating inventory, right? So you can say that this is something I bought, but I'm not sure whether I'm able to sell. If I'm not selling, I will pass on to the next year. Again, fixed assets. Fixed assets because it has a life more than a year. So this is the way you actually been explain the capital. People will relate to the relatively they will understand why why a business owner invest capital in the business. So again, you take another terminology called as a very popular as a depreciation, right? And depreciation normally I would say that depreciation debit to asset credit. So this is what we maybe learn in school and college. But imagine you need to explain why depreciation we charge. So the reason I'm explaining you everything what we train a student, we always start with question with a why. We will definitely find a different logical answer. That logic we explain to the student, they will understand very easily. So assume a computer I purchased for 36,000. This is my profit and loss account. This computer, what normally say that, okay, every year I charge it because this is my balance sheet. This is my profit and loss account. I every year use it. After 1 year, this is my closing balance in the balance sheet. And this is what I charge in the profit and loss account of cost. Second year, further I depreciation. So again, my closing balance is reduced. I have charged to my cost in the second year. Third year, technically further I charged my P&L, my again my further balance sheet is reduced. In the fourth year, technically what happened? There is no charge. Technically, there is no balance. So in a normal typical profit and loss account, when we say depreciation amortization expenditure, we have to explain to them this is a cost for using the whole property, plant and equipment and intangible. Rest of the things basically we may not actually connect why we use this expenditure. So again, I just give you one more logical explanations what is income tax and a GST. So we all know we pay income tax to the government, right? So we all out of salary we pay income tax to the government. So income tax government collect. You know why government collect all this income tax? They spend the income tax, what they collect the revenue to the government, they spend on infrastructure, healthcare, public administration, defense, right? But we always wonder why government collect tax. That's the only revenue for the government. And when the government spend, eventually nobody understand. Although government's expenditure is the income of the industry, income of the business of another person. So government's expenditure is the income of our citizen that will come in the form of a business and in the form of a salary. Correct. All public servants, they earn salary. All business people, they, for example, somebody may be making a bridge. Okay, government is making a bridge. Government spend the money on the bridge. Tell me who earned that money from the bridge? The contractors, the laborers, that all those people, no engineers, architect, everybody earn. All of them are citizens. So technically, what you need to explain to the same, what the government is collecting the income tax from citizens. Again, the same thing is coming in the form of a revenue to the business. Actually the revenue is a supply chain. So government as a not a person consume this money. Whatever government collect the money, again it is the budget, government again spend that money. And when they spend, ideally it's again going to the public only, not to the any other party. So this is the income tax supply chain. Now say normally why it is a tax is basically it is source for the revenue. It is a compulsory levy. So there are two types of tax we call as an income tax and a GST. But technically we call as a direct tax and indirect tax. But when you ask student in a commerce graduate, what is the difference between a direct tax and indirect tax? Hardly nobody able to explain what is the difference between a direct tax and indirect tax. So again, you need to explain what is the concept of direct tax. A consumer buys something from the market and the consumer pays GST to the supplier. Supplier collect the money and actually make the remittance to the government. So it is called as an indirect tax because there is an intermediary supplier who collect the money from the consumer and remit to the government. So supplier role is a collector role. Direct tax is basically you and me, like of an individual, maybe corporates, they directly pay to the government. So a person directly pay the tax to the government is in indirect tax. A consumer pay the tax through the supplier is indirect tax. That is one is GST, one is actually the income tax. I'm just giving you, we can make it more interesting to the students, something relatable to them, something being connectable to them, they understand very quickly when you have a kind of an industry usage. So I always say that when we train maybe a journal entry, we not say that what entry should I pass on the particular transaction. Then why does this transaction exist? That's very important. You need to explain why this whole transaction exists, why he spent that money, because that transaction is the money, right? The money what he said spend from the pocket. Then he understand why that particular transaction happened. Then they correlate all the same scenario. Otherwise, this is a big gap. Somebody theoretically studies the journal entries, they never understand balance sheet, P&L, trial balance without knowing why we do all this exercise. So this is again, I always say that once somebody is maybe graduated, maybe first job, they start at the junior accountant and the cashier level, operating level, where you are mathematical aptitude and communications, how accurate you are. These are some parameter qualities required when at the cashier and junior. Perfectly fine. But if when it to move to the next level as senior accountant and assistant finance manager, you have to be fairly understand how income tax, indirect GST, company law, PF, ESI, all other regulatory laws and accounting knowledge also get understand. You have to get a little more of management information system, MIS. So these are the things will come into the kind of a senior level. But when it comes to the finance manager level, your ability to analyze things in much more level. So you have to guide, you have to be report to the management and get into the budgeting exercise and actually be an advisory role and organization. You understand the whole ecosystem. I should not be so far being get into the only the recording side of it. I have to get into more overall understand the business ability also. There actually you become a finance manager and a CFO level of a growth. I'm saying, forget about the CA, CMA, CCA. Even normal BCom graduate also can pursue their career in the ladder of become a finance, potentially possible. But unfortunately, normally after a BCom graduate, somebody join as an accountant. Even after 10 years down the line, he normally become a senior accountant, never become a finance manager level person. The reason we always call a senior accountant because he is senior, not because of his academic knowledge or not because of his technical capability. He once maybe a person become an old age, people normally call as a senior accountant. So what I'm trying to say, in a commerce graduate, even without professional courses, with the professional courses, enormous career opportunities right now in India. And as we always say, we are the fourth largest economy. By 2030, we have a huge economic growth in the country, depreciating all this current war, all the scenario. But in my experience, I'll tell you, commerce as a profession is a huge opportunity. Huge opportunity. Only thing it is very limited information is available at the academic level. Most of the people are actually be here and there fall into this kind of advertisement thing without knowing whether these courses may suit or may not suit. I'll tell you, all teachers, I just give you my submission. The age of 25, 26-year-old student, maybe you are expert, the age of 20, 24, 25, whatever you can pursue, you can only pursue between that 20 to 24, 25. The moment you crossed, touch 25, gone. After 24, 25, you can't even pursue anything new. So you will live your life, the kind of ability, what you actually been created, the skill, what you've been earned in that 2025. So pursuing any professional courses after 24, 25 is very difficult. But unfortunately, somebody by default fall into a 21, 22 a course and actually been realized in the 24, 25, understand, okay, this was a wrong course I was actually pursuing. This is not the exact course I supposed to handle. The time is actually been you lost, and the once it is lost, the time is practically very difficult. And that is the reason normally I strongly communicate this part, already explained. 36 months in graduation course. This is why I'm just highlighting 36 months as a graduation course compared with the they believe I will get a career in commerce. I always ask these questions: how many months you really studied? The normal answer what I get is around 6 months, 8 months, 5 months. Most of the students say that, sir, just 1 month before exams. Because people are being so ashamed to say, I studied 20 months for a 36 months BCom course. It's a very serious issue. The reason they presume that, okay, it's a very lighter course. Why should I put so much of effort? Without putting so much of effort, still people are getting 50 to 60% marks. So they are taking so lightly, even though it's a very good BCom is a very good course, but unfortunately, very less importance being given to these graduation courses at the college level. So the without studying these things, practically job related skill, nobody get an exposure like a GST, income tax, or a banking and company law, PF, ESI, MS office. So these are the things actually the job skill is also been very much relevant, possible during your academic level, the commerce level itself. No, to some extent you have to be in touch base these points. At least let them go through a kind of an online available courses also been these parameters. At least they should start studying these things from second year onwards in the graduation.
What do you think? Like, who should really opt for commerce and finance domains? Does it require math skills beyond the average?
Absolutely, it's a very wrong understanding of most of the commerce students think, okay, I should be an expert in maths. And again, most of the under impression chartered accountant is very good in maths. I'm very poor in mathematics. So what is most important thing skill you should have? Basically analytical skill. Okay, problem solving skill. Okay, critical thought process. Instantly you have to get that insights. Okay, how will I solve the problem? These are the skills you should have. And especially it's a subject which is, one is financial analysis, and the thing it is, the reason, the way you see things, the way we see things, two different things. That is the reason analysis. Okay, the same data is with you, the same data is with me. I process the data from a different perspective. I will highlight to you, and that you never even thought about it. Okay, I never seen these things from this perspective. So that is a big gap in that, and a huge opportunity from the data analytical side and the financial analytical side, because today is a cloud and all the chat GPT, all AIs will be dominant in the finance domain. The reason you also should have a very good critical and analytical skill even to use AI and ChatGPT.
Yes, sir. Sir, we have a question from Hemanti. How can guardians learn about such courses at the school level itself? How can teachers raise awareness among students regarding the future? And how is it possible to provide students with proper guidance? And she herself is a language teacher, so how can she convey this topic to her students?
It's not complicated, ma'am. It's not that complicated. And as I said, no, the way I explain things, it's maybe I'm not even discussed like a chartered accountant. Maybe it's not even be technical expert, right? A little bit of when you have a as a being all teachers are very good mentors, no, technically. All teachers are very good mentors, and they actually been so. But unfortunately, I don't know how many of them really know the career opportunities. Whenever I go to every college and explain these things, no, when we see from the career, the industry side, most of them may not ever. They academically, that course wise, they might be exceptionally good, but they may not know how the industry been taking these courses in the other side. There are enormous videos, enormous informations available on YouTube. Content wise, there are, if you type something, you get enormous information and content. The thing it is, if someone it's all about maybe a BCom, very limited options, right? As I said, no, chartered accountant, ACCA, CMA, this thing. I'm very proud to say that, okay, maybe um, there's no point in guiding a student to say that you should become an accountant. We always been promoted in such a way that you always should become a chartered accountant, ACCA, CMA, because that is the where you have to give a confidence to a student. It's not about maybe somebody may be able to earn salary and X value. You have to position to them, okay, once you become a chartered accountant, once you become a company secretary, how society will see you, how family will see you, how the whole community will see you. So that perspective is something, you have to have the drive factor. And with my experience, all the students, the 20, 21, the age, they will do wonders when you actually drive, give the drive, because connect to a kind of a desire with a reason. The reason must be their parents, my father, or siblings. Unbelievably, they will deliver. Unbelievably, but the thing is, no, they never do for themselves. They should not be the reason for the drive. You always have to give the reason. Either they have to find a reason why they should have a desire.
Yes, sir. Sir, what are the opportunities in fintech and what competencies are required?
Again, as I said, no, fintech is basically the technology side, one financial side, and you should have very strong financial analytical knowledge. Then only technology become much more usable. And without knowing the finance side, practically, you become a tech person and you will not understand why, where, and why. Because why is always come with the logic. That why is come from the knowledge from the finance side. Why never come from the technology side. You should know why with the logic. With the logic, you can use the technology in much more better. That is the reason always, preferably you have to be in pursue some professional courses, CFA or a CMA or a ACCA, some professional courses with the depends upon his caliber. Once you are done, you have to move towards the technology side. Without understanding the logic and the finance side, going to the technology, you may not get the full deliverable.
Okay, sir. Sir, Archita has asked a question here. So first, she has thanked you for a very insightful session. And her question is, in the context of B schools, how other management subjects like operations, marketing, etc., include some topics from finance and accounting so that it will be meaningful for MBA students.
Yeah, absolutely. And I strongly advocate one important aspects. Most value add activity in any business is marketing activity. Most value add. And any B school, we need to train very strongly. We need to educate and train more from a marketing side. Maybe one is basically the marketing is a very general perspective. Then you have to go to social media marketing or maybe the offline marketing. But fundamentally, marketing is the only revenue generating activity in any business. Sales is not the revenue generating activity. Out of marketing activity, you generate sales. But unfortunately, the way we see the profit and loss account, revenue from operations, sales, then operating expenditure, cost. 90% people are under impressions. I spend expenditure out of my revenue. That's not the case. I spend expenditure, then I generate revenue. I'm not spending the expenditure from revenue. I spend first expenditure, then only revenue, not the other way around. Okay, so the marketing is something I think every B school we have to. It's not a general marketing possible. What is the industry right now currently requirement and that marketing is something being part of the syllabus we need to consider.
Yes, sir. Sir, nowadays many add-on courses are offered in colleges, such as ERP. So, does it help in career?
Any course is helpful. Okay, so okay, forget even a small Excel course also be helpful. Okay. And always it's something be related to his career. Any added courses will always be. We don't know. Even maybe somebody is pursuing a course for a 2 months, 1 year, or maybe a 6 months. I, with my experience, maybe 2 class will change his life. Not the whole 2 months. Only 2 class, maybe 2 hour. That 2 hour, that 2 month, two days class may change his entire life. So transformation normally happen on a student is basically that 1 hour class. Yeah, so we don't know which point he transform. That is the reason now we always been mentor a student at that corner. No, we don't know which point, which message, which point it actually transform his career. It changes career because he's in a different dilemma, different thought process. Right? As a teacher, we need to show this is also a possible route. This is also a possible message. That maybe the 10-15 minutes message can change a person's entire career.
Yes, sir, that's true. Sir, what are entrepreneurship opportunities in finance?
Okay, there are, putting this way, around 435 business lines are in India. 435 different business lines are in India. And as an entrepreneur, you have any opportunity, somebody can actually become kind of a now. The thing it is, putting this way, entrepreneurship journey is not that easy job. Okay, somebody may be very lazy in the college. I'm not good in studies. I don't want to pursue any professional courses further. So let me start my business. That is not entrepreneurship journey. Okay, and people may think, okay, this is a much easier effort than the going for an employment. And entrepreneurship journey and business journey is much difficult, much tougher than the employment part. Okay, but opportunity wise, you see any business network, go to LinkedIn, there are a number of opportunity. You name any marketing itself, you will find maybe 50, maybe for example, putting across chartered accountant. Most of the people under impression, once you become a chartered accountant, you become an auditor. 90% people under impression auditor. I will tell you, once you become a chartered accountant, almost 15 to 20 career opportunities, different. You can be a tax expert, you can be a business valuation expert, you can be a GST expert, you can be a CFO level, number of career opportunities. You can be investment advisor, you can be an estate planner, a number of opportunity once you become a chartered accountant. Even a company, any course. Say every course is just kind of a parameter. I'll give you one more just insight. I don't know how many of you relate. Your certificate, your graduation course, only help you to get the first employment. Only first employment. With that certificate, with that marks, you can only survive for a month in any company. After a month, your certificate is not relevant. Your marks is not relevant. Only relevant what you've done in the first month. And your second job, what is relevant, what you've done in the first job. And the second job and third job, nobody will check your certificate and nobody will check which marks you cleared. It's not at all relevant. All your academic background is relevant only for your first job.
So, so is it right to say understanding a business or different types of business is the foundation for a finance career?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So we have another question from Archit. What topics you advise to be included in operations and marketing?
Sorry.
What topics would you advise to be included in operations and marketing?
See, when you see operations, it is only completely supply chain mechanism. Okay. When you see the operations of a company, you start from the HR, human resources, then you start with the procurement, then you start with the production department. Then once you have a production, then you actually start the marketing side, then you start the sales side, then you start the finance and accounts, then you start the corporate governance. It's a whole supply chain is your operation side, and each one is a detailed subject. Each one is a detailed subject. And the way you explain procurement itself, it's a supply chain. Where you procure, what quality you procure, how you procure. In India, you procure. In Kerala, you procure. Maybe outside India, you procure. So that's where you need to travel with these students, right? So that is a the operation side of it. Then marketing again again I will say today the most difficult and most important role in any business is marketing. And marketing is a skill. And I'm doing social media marketing doesn't mean I know marketing. Marketing is something different. And I strongly recommend maybe this itself should become a very detailed course syllabus and subject in the B school and the commerce adjunct. They understand marketing. At least I should market myself. No, forget about my company. I should know how to market me, how to sell me, right? First, I need to sell me. Then only I sell my company. And most of the students have no idea how to sell me. That's where the communication comes. So marketing is the most significant part. Because unfortunately, I don't know, we've been teaching the whole old law of marketing syllabus in our college days. All those things gone. And I would say that most of the maybe BCom syllabus might be outdated. Nobody applicable to contract law. We've been studying contract law for a long contract law, very hard, very limited application in contract law. Hardly you need only 2-3 classes to actually take class on contract law. And Partnership Act, 1932, Partnership accounts. And hardly very few people actually do business in partnership. Everybody business doing in LLP, limited liability partnership and private limited company. And we give lots of importance to partnership on accounts in BCom. I don't know why we study partnership accounts. Very limited application, I mean to say that. Maybe a guy who learned partnership accounts in detail and he joining in a company, this is not relevant, no, in a private limited company accounts.